Hello and welcome to Odds on La Liga Matchday 11 after El Clásico. Real Madrid won El Clásico. Real Madrid were better, especially in the first half, and now they have a 5 points lead against Barcelona. Still early days, of course, Alvaro. Last season we saw how Barcelona came back from a more difficult position, but we are showing some problems with Barcelona's flick, especially with the absentees of key players, and also we saw some greens and some positives from Real Madrid winning El Clásico after the 4 defeats suffered last season. Hello, Alvaro.
Hello, Edu. Yeah, 5 points clear for Real Madrid at the top of the table. I think they deserve to win. If they have been more ruthless or clinical, or if some marginal decisions when it came to the offsides had gone their way, they would have beaten Barcelona 4-1, 5-1. I think Barcelona was not good. Thibaut Courtois, I don't think he did any save. And, I think Real Madrid did a very competitive game. I don't think that they are still at the level of the best teams in Europe, like Paris Saint-Germain or Arsenal or Bayern, but they could get there with a player like Mbappé, who is in a terrific form, sensational. Really, one of the best things about Mbappé is that he's not scoring like 3 goals in one game and then not scoring for a month. I mean, he's scoring consistently 1 goal every game. That run is really good. And, good to see Eder Militao back, because I think that Militao, Courtois, and Mbappé, my opinion, are the best players of Real Madrid. Or the most important ones, and when they are not there, the team suffers. And Vinicius was really good against Barcelona as well. Maybe he was the best player of the game until he performed that ridiculous thing when he had to be substituted, and he refused in the first place. Then he left the pitch shouting, and then he said that he was going to leave the team, and 20 minutes later he was involved in the fight between Real Madrid and Barcelona players. I think Vinicius was probably the most negative part of El Clásico. I really think so. He sent a very bad message to Xabi Alonso and his teammates, and I cannot understand how Lamine Yamal's quotes before the game and Vinicius' reaction when he knew that he was going to be substituted have been treated equally in media. Vinicius did something terrible, and Lamine Yamal did what football is about. I mean, he ranted about Real Madrid. Real Madrid players found that motivating, and they used that extra motivation to beat Barcelona. In a way, Real Madrid beat Barcelona because Lamine Yamal as well made them stronger, because Real Madrid players felt that they needed to beat Barcelona. So yeah, that is my reaction about El Clásico. Also concerns about Barcelona's depth of the squad in this moment, with 𝗀𝗵𝗄, Joan Garcia, Lewandowski, Rafinha out. The team is suffering from those losses, definitely. But also, Lamine Yamal is not in a good form, and some say that he's got a bad injury, and maybe that should be treated. But, it's a World Cup year, so it depends if Lamine wants to do that or not.
Well, a lot to talk about this tense El Clásico. I am starting to hate this modern football also, Alvaro, with the first goal disallowed to Mbappé. I couldn't see the offside. You have to bring a mathematician into the pitch to know if Mbappé was ahead of the defender, but this is football nowadays. By the way, if you want to back Barcelona to win the title, now is the time. 3.2 the bookies are playing for Flick to win La Liga again. Great odds. Well, let's talk about this La Liga Matchday 11. Thank you already for your comments, guys. Eric telling us that YouTube is saying that he's our #1 fan, so thank you. And now it's time for us to analyze what is going to happen this weekend. Don't forget to press the like if you enjoy our videos, and subscribe. You can also click the bell to get notifications when we do these live shows. And now let's go on with the show. Getafe Girona is the first game on Friday. Surprising this Getafe winning at San Mamés, really concerning Athletic, but we will talk about them a little bit later. They have 14 points with -2 goal difference because they've scored only 10 goals, but this is Bordalás, guys. This is football, daddy, he says, and he has performed, or he's performing again above the quality of his squad. At home in the last two games, they couldn't beat Levante or Alaves, and Girona are slightly improving, but they couldn't beat Oviedo in a crazy game. It was a 3-3. They were 2-0 down. They came back with a 3-2. Stuani scoring from the penalty spot, and at the end, they lost the 3 points. They couldn't only get the draw. This Girona is slightly improving, Alvaro, but without wins. Only one win, still winless away. And Getafe to win pays well, actually.
Yeah, I like it. Getafe to win 220. I could take it, but I prefer to go for the Asian handicap -0.25 for Getafe. Again, for those who are new, it means that if Getafe draws, you suffer half a lose, but if they win, you win your whole stock. So Asian handicap -0.25 for Getafe, 183. Look, Getafe was very good at San Mamés. They beat Athletic deservedly. The pressure of Getafe on the players of Athletic de Bilbao was very good. Athletic couldn't build up. I think that Athletic did a poor game as well, which helped Getafe winning the game, but Getafe was there for the taking. A few players that are, in my opinion, shining this season. Number one is Borja Mayoral, who is finding his scoring form. If he scores one more goal, by the way, he will become Getafe's best ever scorer in La Liga. And also Milla. I mean, Milla is a footballer that we don't talk about a lot, but he's been around for a few years, 5 assists this season, and he is one of those players that every time he gets the ball, he looks to the box, he tries to send vertical passes, and in a team like Getafe, that is something very needed as well, because if they recover the ball normally high up on the pitch, because they press high, and having a player like Milla who can actually not far from the box, send clinical passes is very important. Getafe won in the cup, by the way, 11-0 on Tuesday. That doesn't count a lot, obviously. And when it comes to Girona, Girona right now is the antithesis of Getafe. They are unreliable, they are conceding many goals, and their games are not under control. And this is something that Mitchell probably is lamenting. The fact that his team is never under control in the games, to the point that against Oviedo, again, they were losing, then 2 goals from Stuani from the penalty spot were needed just to draw that game, and then when it looked like Girona had come back and cut the deficit from 2-0 to 3-2, suddenly Oviedo scored one more goal and the game ended up in a draw. So there is no control when it comes to Girona's game, and that's something that the team is paying for. Girona has also the worst goal difference in La Liga, -13, and we know that Getafe's goal difference under Bordalás normally is pretty close to 0. So I think Getafe is not going to lose this game. They will draw it or more likely win it. So as I said before, Asian handicap -0.25 for Getafe.
Okay, both teams to score. For Marco, be careful. Girona is good with both teams to score. 6 out of 10 games, but Getafe only 4 out of 10. One of the worst teams in this La Liga for both teams to score. Next one, Villarreal. Rayo Vallecano. Rayo Vallecano is a dangerous team, especially when they are playing away. Back-to-back wins now, beat Levante, and finally they won at home against Alaves. They are 7th in La Liga. This coach, Alvaro, is gonna fly next summer because he's really, really good. And Villarreal 3rd in the standings after beating Valencia in the derby, and they were coming from 2 games without a win against Betis and Bernabeu. But the bookies, of course, place Villarreal as favorites, 1.7. They have also to focus in the Champions League. At least they had this week to rest because they need to win their following game in the Champions League.
Yeah, definitely, because they haven't started the Champions League very well, even though their calendar has been really difficult. Probably the team with the most difficult calendar so far in the Champions League has been Villarreal. Definitely for the Spanish sides, at least. But, in La Liga, they are doing well. They have collected 20 points out of 30. Gerard Moreno played very well the other day against Valencia. He scored the goal. He's the top scorer of the club's history, by the way, with 119 goals. And, I think that the difference between Villarreal and some other sides who are involved in European football this season, the likes of Rayo, for example, is that Villarreal has a good bench and quite a decent squad. And not only that, the sporting direction of Villarreal is so good. We will speak later about the Espanyol, but one of the best players of Espanyol this season is Carlos Romero, a defender, and he belongs to Villarreal. Villarreal has players everywhere on loan. Their academy is great as well, and I think that is paying dividends. So for this game, look, I like Rayo Vallecano. They got a great manager, to the point that if Ernesto Valverde leaves Athletic de Bilbao at the end of the season, and if Andoni Iraola is not available, I think that 𝗀𝗵𝗄𝗏𝗀𝗏 or Eder Sarabia, Elche coach, could be candidates for Athletic de Bilbao's bench. That is a testament to how good 𝗀𝗵𝗄𝗏𝗏 is doing at Rayo. Rayo can make life difficult for Villarreal because they mark man-to-man, but on the other hand, if any team, apart from Real Madrid and Barcelona, has the type of players who don't mind to be man-marked because they are fast, they win duels, are Villarreal players. This is my logic coming into this game. So I'm going to go for Villarreal to win and over 1.5 goals in this game, 191. For example, a 2-0, to put an example, would do for you, because that will mean that you get your money. Otherwise, I think that this is going to be an over rather than an under. So over 2.5 goals in this game, 177 will be decent as well.
Atletico de Madrid, Sevilla is the next one. Great game. And this one with Atletico de Madrid finally winning away from home 2-0 in Sevilla against Betis. Someone was commenting here how Atletico didn't concede against Betis. They had their chances, but they won. I was also surprised to see Julián Álvarez again substituted very early in the game. I would say you shouldn't, I think, change your best player always and always and always. It was important also because they were coming from a harsh defeat against Arsenal, and now they are fourth in the standings, only 3 points away from Barcelona, and they have an easy schedule in November. Sevilla, Álvaro, back-to-back defeats in La Liga, Real Sociedad and Mallorca after winning Barcelona. Perhaps this type of game suits them much more than the way they lost against Mallorca and Real Sociedad. Now they can sit back and counter-attack as they did against Barcelona.
Well, yeah, they can also press high. Don't forget that, because one of the reasons why Sevilla beat Barcelona is because they were very intense, and maybe Atletico finds that difficult. But on the other hand, I think that Atletico is going to win this game, and I'm going to try to justify this. Gradually, I think that Atletico de Madrid's big squad is going to show the quality and make the difference. Atletico has like 21, 22 players who are capable of starting. Obviously, there is no one like Julián Álvarez, or no one like Jan Oblak, or no one like Marcos Llorente, or no one like Pablo Barrios. But on the other hand, there are players who can almost do that job. Oblak aside, who will never be replaced. The season goes by and the tiredness starts. And even though Sevilla is not playing in Europe, I'm sure that Atletico's big squad will make a difference in the future. And maybe the future starts now, almost at the end of October, the start of November. And the squad is really good, as I said before. To the point that, for example, a player like Alex Baena, who has been anonymous at the start of the season due to an injury, scored the other day his first goal for Atletico against Betis. It was a super goal, by the way, because Baena is a very good footballer. And, there is one bet that is almost here like a safe bet. It's not my favorite because there is a point of speculation in scoring first. I prefer normally the full time, the 90 minutes, or at least encapsulate everything in a half, like winning a second half, winning a first half. But it's true as well, and I have to say this, that Atletico has scored first in their first 10 games of the season in La Liga. So Atletico to score first is 133. Not for me, but has to be said. For me, my favorite is the following. Atletico to win and Julián Álvarez to score. And ACCA in the game. I know that Julián normally plays 65 minutes, 70, but on the other hand, his goal return is there. He has scored 7 goals and assisted 3 times in all competitions. So that will be, for me, Atletico to win and Julián Álvarez to score, 248. Even Julián Álvarez to score alone has a decent value, 183.
All right, guys, let me know your comments for this game, your tips. For instance, if we check our AI, Smart Bet is going for corners. In this case, we can check it. Under 10.5 corners is the top bet. And then we have minus 3.5 goals. This pays 1.5 around. And even double chance for Sevilla. This would be a massive surprise. The level of confidence, as we can see, is lower, only 3 stars, but the odds are massive, 3.4 with our AI. Next game on Saturday, Basque Derby, Real Sociedad, Athletic, with both teams struggling this season. At least in the last game, Real Sociedad won. Therefore, they are outside the relegation spots, at least, but with the same points as Valencia. It was only the second win of the season, and Athletic is slightly better with 14 points, but also concerning, I guess, Alvaro, losing against Getafe. It's only 1 win in the last 7 games. In La Liga, last season we saw a draw in San Sebastian. In this derby, the bookies don't know where to go. You can see it's exactly the same odds for Real Sociedad or for Athletic. I guess it's really difficult to back any of these teams, so perhaps actually the draw could be a good option.
Draw 310, I like it. I like it. It's one of my choices. The other one will be 0-0 in the first half, 260. You know, I know that Real Sociedad got a very important result last Friday, beating Sevilla with 𝗀𝗲𝗏𝗀𝗏𝗏 scoring 2 goals, by the way. What a year for 𝗀𝗲𝗏𝗏𝗏. In 2025, he has scored 22 goals, which is his best ever tally, between club and country, by the way. That has to be said, but still is good. But yeah, Real Sociedad is not in a good moment. And Athletic either. I think that the calendar is too much for them. Ernesto Valverde is prioritizing La Liga, and he has repeated that a lot of times instead of the Champions League.
Alvaro, I don't understand this. So you are fighting to qualify for the Champions League for 8 years, then you qualify for the Champions League, and you say the Champions League is not important, but the important thing is La Liga.
Yeah, I agree. No, I agree with you. And this, you know, I talk to my brother about football. I talk to my friends. We have a WhatsApp group about Athletic Bilbao, and that is the main discussion. Some understand that, but I don't. I mean, if you play the Champions League, just try to give it a go. And obviously, you're not going to win it, but try to be in the playoffs, for instance. Just make people happy for, not for once, because they won the cup in 2024, and that was brilliant, but just try to give it a little bit of a go. Real Sociedad 2 years ago, Edu, you will remember this. They beat Benfica in the group stage. They also drew with Inter twice, and they managed to play a last 16 round with Paris Saint-Germain. And I think Real Sociedad fans will be very happy about that, and they remember that, they treasure those memories. But Athletic Bilbao is not doing that, and I don't understand it. I also believe that due to La Liga's level in general, you can still focus on the Champions League until February, and then if you got knocked out, qualify for the Conference League at the end of the season. You still have time. I don't know why Athletic Bilbao doesn't do that. But anyway, for this game, I say a draw is the best thing for me, or a 0-0 at halftime. I really think that this could be the case. Athletic Bilbao stars are going through a bad moment. Nico Williams is not making the difference this season because he has got an injury and he's not just catching his form. Ollán Sánchez, same thing. And yeah, Athletic Bilbao is not right now particularly good at anything, to the point that no player has scored more than 1 goal in the opening 10 games of the season, which has never happened in Athletic Bilbao history. But by this point, in every season in La Liga, at least 1 player has scored 2 goals or more. So that tells you the problems that Athletic de Bilbao is having individually. No player is making any difference so far. This can change, of course, but against Real Sociedad, I think that the draw will happen.
Indeed, the draw is very, very likely. Let's go to the next game. Real Madrid, Valencia, another game at the Bernabeu for Real Madrid. They could rest this week after winning El Clásico. As we said, many things to analyze. Great win also for Xabi Alonso after losing the derby. I think it's a great boost for his confidence. Also, Bellingham played the best game perhaps in 1 year for him after his shoulder injury. Also, Camavinga with his new position, he said new position unlocked as a kind of a right winger. The negatives, Vinicius, of course. Let's see how the coach especially handles the situation. Also, Carvajal is injured for a couple of months, so I guess we are going to see again Valverde as a right back or Trent Alexander-Arnold at one point. I guess he should start playing as well. And now Valencia comes in relegation spots, bottom three. They lost to Villarreal, drew with Alaves, deserved to lose that game, lost to Girona, lost to Oviedo, so they look really bad. But last season they won at the Bernabeu. It was a massive win for them. So it's a call to attention also for Real Madrid players, Alvaro. But before traveling to Anfield, they have to win. At home, of course, we can see the odds really low, 1.2. 𝗀𝗵𝗏 to score is always great. The first two times he touched the ball in El Clásico were 2 goals, actually.
Yeah. 𝗀𝗵𝗏 to score is staging in my odds. Real Madrid to win and 𝗀𝗵𝗏 to score 170. That's my favorite bet probably coming into this game. But it's an ACCA as well. And an ACCA is a combination. And for a combination to happen, two things have to happen at the same time. So there is a safer bet, in my opinion, which is Asian handicap minus 1.5 for Real Madrid, 164. I like that one. I think Real Madrid is going to win this game kind of easily. I don't forget that Valencia won here last season, but it was a different Valencia completely. The team was flying definitely more than now. 𝗀𝗵𝗏𝗀𝗏𝗀𝗏 was kind of just arrived, and it was different. Real Madrid is looking rocky, which is very good, solid at the back, which makes them win easily. And I think that, as they say in tennis, when you get a break, then you have to confirm it. Real Madrid got some sort of a break against Barcelona. Now they have to confirm it with a win against Valencia. That will put the team in a very advantageous situation just to face the next games and, of course, the game against Liverpool. So I'm going to go for those two. Asian handicap minus 1.5 for Real Madrid, or slightly more speculative but a little bit more money, Real Madrid to win and 𝗀𝗵𝗏 to score. We cannot forget that 𝗀𝗵𝗏 is the top scorer of La Liga.
𝗀𝗵𝗏 over 1.5 shots on target every game. PC is telling us making a lot of money for him this season. Valencia to score on this one. Marco is telling us, or even both teams to score. All right. Well, Real Madrid now favorites to win La Liga, only 1.4 after winning El Clásico. The start of the season has been very good. 9 wins, only 1 defeat. In the Champions League, 3 wins. So I think Xabi Alonso must be very happy with his performance in this start of the season. Games on Sunday, Levante, Celta, important this one. For the relegation, Levante 9 points, same as the relegation spots. They got a draw in Mallorca at home. They've been very poor this season, only 1 point, and Celta finally won. It was unexpected in Pamplona in a difficult pitch. Also won in the Europa League, so perhaps it's a good time to start La Liga. Never late in October, but they have 10 points because it's true that they had trouble winning, but they were not losing the games.
Yeah, absolutely. It was important for Celta. Let's don't forget that they are juggling with 2 competitions. They got the first win of the season. They can build up from there. One thing that catches my attention about Celta, and this is something that doesn't happen a lot in La Liga is the quality of their scorers. I mean, with the La Liga financial restrictions over the last 5 to 7 years, we have seen many teams losing quality up front. This has been probably the biggest impact of La Liga's financial restrictions. The fact that many footballers who were good, especially the expensive ones, the strikers, left to different leagues. And we have seen that with Celta. They lost, who was that? Brun Larsen to Wolverhampton Wanderers, for example, yes, from the top of my head. But they have managed to get 3 quality strikers for their teams. Borja Iglesias, Ferran 𝗀𝗏𝗀𝗀𝗀, Iago Aspas, and to a lesser extent, Durant. I think that is very important for Celta if they want to be competitive this season. And yes, the defense is not great, but then in attack, they've got the quality to score goals. And when it comes to Levante, look, maybe they don't have the big quality to score goals or the big squad depth to do that, but they got one footballer like 𝗀𝗏𝗏𝗀𝗏𝗏 who has scored 6 goals and provided 3 assists. That's why the team has scored 14 goals, which is a lot for Levante. And that's why I'm going to go in this game for both teams to score, because one of the teams has a very good striker, like 𝗀𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏, and because Celta has a lot of decent forwards. So both teams to score 168. Don't forget, by the way, if you want to bet for Levante, they got only 1 point at home. So that can be a red flag, I guess. So both teams to score will be better.
Celta de Vigo to score over 1.5 goals in this match. Marco is telling us 2 goals. That's a lot. This could be easily another 1-1 draw. Celta's favorite result this season. Alaves Espanyol is the next one. 2 teams doing a great season, especially Espanyol. They are 5th in the standings. Massive season for Manolo, the manager. Last season, they were newly promoted. They struggled. They earned the salvation. And now they are really enjoying Primera División. They beat Elche and Oviedo, 2 direct rivals, without conceding. And now playing in Vitoria, never easy. They are usually good at home. Only 1 defeat this season playing in Vitoria, Mendizorroza, was against Alaves, against Sevilla, Álvaro.
Yeah, no, this game, look, I'm going to give a tip, but I will think very carefully before I put a bet here, because yes, Alaves at home tends to get something out of this type of games, because this is their league. And getting points against the likes of Espanyol is what has defined Alaves' stint in La Liga over the last couple of years. The fact that they know how to handle these games. But on the other hand, Espanyol is in a very good moment too. It's in a very good moment. This is, by the way, happy birthday to them, 125 years of history this week. Espanyol comes from beating Elche, okay, which is not easy, and they got already 18 points. Last season, they ended up the first half of the tournament with only 16 points, bottom of the table. They got 18 already. And the team is playing really well. So congratulations to Fran Garagarza as well for having crafted this squad, and to the coach Manolo. A few players in Espanyol like 𝗀𝗏𝗀𝗏𝗀𝗏𝗀𝗏 or Carlos Romero, the one I mentioned before, are playing really well, aside from the biggest stars of the team, if they have any. But yeah, on the other hand, they are playing against Alaves, and Alaves has a very good defense too. So if I went for something, I will lean towards Espanyol slightly. How? With an Asian handicap plus 0.25. If they win the game, you win. If they draw this game against Alaves, you will get half a win. That would be maybe my favorite bet here. That pays 182. But on the other hand, as I said before, I think that this game is a bit tricky. My instinct says that there is a big chance of a draw here, but Espanyol is in a good moment as well. So, I think that there is money to make somewhere else, not here exactly.
All right, let's go to the next one. Let's see if we have the chance to make money in the Barcelona-Elche. Tough one because the odds are very low For Barcelona, only 1.27. Some concerns after El Clásico. It's true that they competed until the end with a lot of absentees. But of course, they were second from best. We saw a poor Lamine Yamal, especially for the level he is supposed to have. But I think he's injured. And when he touches the ball, he put a lot of quality in his passes, but he's not fast enough. He cannot dribble, and that's affecting the way he's playing. Also, Pedri, I think he's a bit tired, and now he's out for this game. He was sent off. The positives is that 𝗀𝗲𝗿𝗀𝗍𝗀 could be back for this game, and also some concerns about the pair Álvaro, 𝗀𝗵𝗄𝗏𝗂, and Eric Garcia, I think, in the center of the defense. Elche coming from 3 winless games after a great start of the season, but this should be all about Barcelona, this game.
I guess so, yeah, but the odds are very low. Just very quickly, because you have, brought out a lot of topics on the table. Number one, 𝗀𝗏𝗏𝗂 and Eric Garcia are not a league winning defense, in my opinion. Let alone Champions League winning defense. But what about 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 and 𝗀𝗏𝗏𝗏 in the World Cup? I don't trust those two, neither. I think that they are still too young. So food for thought over there. Then Lamine Yamal, I mean, he's got an injury in his pubic bone, what we call in Spanish pubis, and that is the kind of injury that limits the player a lot. And normally, the player shouldn't play if he has that injury. And I think that for Lamine Yamal, considering he's 18 on.
Some problems with Álvaro's connection. Internet is
Hello?
affecting you, Álvaro.
Hello. I hope that I am back now.
Yeah, kind of. The sound at least, yes.
Okay, I was talking about Lamine Yamal. Yeah, I think that he should reconsider his, playing time, because he's got an injury in the pubic bone. And then, the likes of Ferran or Marcus Rashford, I think that they are good subs, but I don't think that they are top quality players to start in top quality games. So Lewandowski and Rafinha are very missed. Coming into this game, it's going to be difficult because without Pedri, it will be Frenkie and Casadón in midfield. Probably Rafinha won't be ready for this game. Lewandowski, let's see. It's a tricky one. Elche is having a very good start of the season. The money would be in Barcelona to win and over 2.5 goals in the game, 150. That is as far as I can go, because I think that Elche has a good defense and maybe Barcelona is not capable of scoring many against them. But I think Barcelona is going to win it. Over 2.5 goals in the game, yes, that would be my bet. But again, this is a tricky one because Barcelona has many players in the sidelines. Ferran, Rashford, Eric Garcia don't offer the same quality as Íñigo Martínez, Rafinha, or Lewandowski, to name a few that would have started last season. So, yeah, a tricky one here. I'm not going to keep this game for Mallorca. Normally I do with Barcelona, especially playing at home, but not this time because Pedri is out as well, and that is a massive loss for Barcelona.
Betis Mallorca is the last game on Sunday, with Betis losing on Monday against Atletico de Madrid. Mallorca drew with Levante. They have also 9 points, same as the relegation. Last time they traveled to Sevilla, they were very happy because they beat Sevilla, indeed, 1-3 a couple of weeks ago. And for Betis, they have to improve, Álvaro. They are starting the games, especially really poorly. It's something that is happening a lot this year. They concede in the first half. Then they try to come back in the second half, but they are not always accurate as they weren't actually against Atletico de Madrid. So something for Pellegrini to work on these days, starting the games better. They concede early goals very easily.
Yeah, and then they have to put a big fight just to come back. But, it's unlikely that Betis loses 2 games in a row at home, especially under Pellegrini, who, has done a really good job for Betis. I guess that they will be more competitive when Isco is back. And the good news is that Isco started training this week, even though It will take a little bit of time for him to return, probably after the international break. But, Betis normally scores goals, and they were scoreless for the first time this season against Atletico, but otherwise they score goals. And Mallorca, they improve a little bit, but still not the best moment of the season for them. And Betis are playing at home and they've got more quality, and normally they tend to win at home this kind of games. So I'm going to go for Betis to win, plain and simple, 163.
And the last game is Oviedo-Osasuna. Oviedo even out of the Copa del Rey in midweek. Carrión still looking for a win. It didn't happen in the Copa del Rey. It didn't happen in the 2 games they played in La Liga, although against Girona they were 2-0 up. I think is the main candidate to go to Segunda División at this moment in time. Oviedo and Osasuna lost to Celta, where they are usually good at home, because away they lost all 5 games. I guess they are looking for the first points away from home here in the Carlos Tartiere.
Look, Osasuna is the second team in La Liga with more defeats, which is something concerning, in my opinion. The good thing is that then, they got their wins and all that, and since the point tally naturally at the bottom of the table is low, they are not quite there. But they have suffered 6 defeats. Only Girona has lost more games. And football sometimes has to be measured as well, not for the points, but for how competitive you are in games. And in 6 games this season, 6 out of 10, Osasuna has lost. That is a 60% loss rating. So let's keep that in mind. It was very funny to see the little girl on television, 𝗀𝗏𝗏𝗧𝗏 was her name, just talking about Osasuna's form this season, and explaining that she didn't like the low block of the coach and blah, blah, blah. I think that she was very critical of her manager, but it was very sweet to see. This video went viral on Spanish television, probably a 9-year-old girl just saying what she didn't like about Osasuna. I agreed with her, by the way, a lot. And Oviedo, what can we say? I mean, yes, they lost in the cup. They have done really poorly in the cup over the last 10 years, by the way, really poorly. They got a goal difference of -12, which is the biggest in La Liga. And, they scored 3 against Girona, but they scored about the 40% of their goals this season in only 1 game. There is no reliability in Oviedo. They have lost 7 games. Osasuna has lost 6. So these 2 sides are the teams that have lost more games in La Liga. But on the other hand, Oviedo is very leaky and concedes a lot of goals. So that's why I'm going to go for over 2 goals, plain and simply because Oviedo is very poor defensively. Really, really, really poor. So over 2 goals in this game, 187.
This is it for our La Liga show, match day 11. Remember, guys, you can post your tips in Oddspedia. We have our tipster competitions going on, new month, starting on Saturday. So another possibility to get some money. It looks like in October, this Ukrainian guy is the one that is going to get 350 euros. And then we have the Italian guy in the second spot and another Ukrainian guy in the third spot. Ukrainian guys are really good in our tipster competitions. And then we have rivals. Shevchenko and Rebrov, yeah, with Valery Lobanovsky on the bench. Yeah. What a classic. And there you go, rivals where you can create your own tipster competitions. And to finish our video, Alvaro, safe bet.
Asian handicap -1 for Real Madrid, 132.
And the ACCA?
Asian handicap -1 for Real Madrid. Asian handicap -0.25 for Getafe. Betis to win. Altogether 394.
Okay, guys. Thank you very much for watching the show. Alvaro, thank you. See you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.